And what first attracted you to working with transitions?
Well, David very kindly phoned me up and said, would you like to make a piece for transitions? I said, well, yes, I would. So that's kind of how it worked. But actually, I know David a little bit. And of course, he's seen previous work that I've done here with a third-year graduate. So that was a very encouraging because he knew what he was taking on. And we did have a discussion about it before I actually finally decided about, you know, what that might mean. And it was kind of, so that was all very, very good. So I think of any opportunity really as an exciting opportunity. Well, yeah, it's great. We're going back in the theatre. That's good for me, you know. I think they're a wonderful group of people, having met them now, and their commitment to their art and their growing into their sense of artistry and themselves as artists. So it's a young company, but it's a very, there's maturity there, there is, you know, and that's growing as well. So I think it's, I'm very excited to hear how it, you know, how it goes on from here.
In terms of thinking about the audience coming into the theatre to see this when it's been fully made, how do you think they're going to react to it and find it?
Well, I'm hoping they'll have a few questions. I'm hoping that the performers will keep the sense of questioning within what they're doing and kind of keep that sense of a kind of ambiguity going around, and that the audience will also gradually understand what they're inside, and they are inside it. So I'm intrigued by that, and I'm intrigued for them, you know, I can have an empathy for them with that, about whether to look behind me or not, or to look to the side of me or not, and to have a sense of things going from behind and coming gradually forward, sort of feeling that there's a force somehow that's taking them in. I'm excited that they're going to enjoy dance in a much more subtle way. Having said that, I've allowed myself the license to be quite vigorous with them as well. So, you know, because I just thought, I'm going to try that and see. Yeah, so I've played with that. So I think it's, I mean, thinking about transitions, touring, I imagine there will be quite a few audiences that will not have come across this kind of work before. And so that would be good. Yeah.
How have you worked with audiences in the studio? Because it's a work that requires an audience in some way to complete.
In the process now, running up. Well, we had yesterday, I had Martina in, who I've been working with, and she came in acted in a way as a stranger to the whole experience, not knowing at all what the progression of it was. So that really helped them, and they really acknowledged that did help. We're going to have some people tomorrow to kind of test it out. We haven't actually drawn in complete strangers too much yet. It feels a little bit delicate, and I feel there's still things to kind of shape up before it's really going to be tested properly. So, however, we've done a lot of exchange within the group of you play to be the viewer, you play to be the performer, and giving quite, lots of exercises on feedback. How did it feel as a performer, or as a viewer, and the differences between the feedback, the connections between that, what you can learn, what you can take. So that's been a constant in the process, and that's helped them to realise, actually, okay, I'm going to be that close. I'm going to be. Everything is very witnessed. Everything, and I'm looking at them, and they're looking at me. So it's this exchange that goes on. And in myself looking at them, the audience, they're changing me in some way, and I'm changing them in some way. So there's this kind of interaction where it's very fluid, and you need to learn to be able to rise to the moment and live right inside the moment, so that can change, and you allow it to go somewhere. Not to think that you've got your material. I know what my phrase is. I'm carrying on. I've got it fixed, and I'm going to do it in front of you. It's not there. So you have to be very open right to the last minute, well, throughout, and every performance will be different. The other thing is I've got 2 casts for this piece, and both casts are different in the sense of their material. So it's a different work with the same structure. So that's another. So 6 and 6. So I've taken one person to be across. So there's one person who's in both. But it was important that they had their own material, that it wasn't something that they had to learn from group A. So the shape of it, or the shape of the details are different, but the structure's the same.
And is there anything out of this experience that you're already thinking to take on in your other professional work? Yeah.
There will be for sure. Right now, I'm thinking just, you know, what else I'm going to do today, what else I'm going to do tomorrow, where are the changes, what needs to happen. Sighted is going to tour next year, and you know, that's something that's still, yes, it feels fresh, because Sighted 2 is quite fresh, and they're a sister piece, so that's interesting for me. So, but there will be, yeah, I'm sure of it. And I found it's very interesting kind of talking about other connections in other fields. You know, we talked a lot about other artists like Martin Creed. You may have heard. People are very familiar with him because he had won the Turner Prize one year for turning the lights on and off in a gallery space. So he got a lot of press attention for that. But what interests me about artists like that is a way in which you peel everything back and still find something there, which is what he talks about. And what is it about a crumpled bit of paper, which is one of his pieces, if you know it, that is just a crumpled bit of paper, and it lives in a life, it has a life that is ordinary, that is throwaway, that doesn't really belong in, it doesn't belong in the art context, but within an art context it does something else. And this is, historically this is very, we know about this going right back to the, you know, early part of the 20th century, but what I'm interested in is where does that feed in dance language today? You know, what can we make use of that? How can we make that exciting? So those are the kinds of things in terms of the process and resources and what am I giving them. There is no narrative. There is no direction in that sense. But it's all about where else can we find kind of connections. This is one connection. There's a piece by Proust which is called it's Writings on Reading. It's a book about reading. It's a very small little book, but it's a wonderful passage where he talks about going into a room, and the room is very ordinary, we're just looking at the room, and then he starts to talk about the furniture, and then he starts to talk about the man who made the furniture, and then we talk about the man in his life before the furniture. And it's all this thing about peeling back or going behind something all the time, which is really what they are thinking about. In these gestures, there is something behind that. There is a movement material that was that all came down to this. So it's all about reducing down into the body, all about a level at which do you show that. What am I going to reveal just to the surface of the skin, just to the further out and further out, or right back, and it's all going on, it's all going on. So there's this sense of bigger world behind this, what you're getting, which is a smaller thing. So all these kinds of things about, that, and then this thing about light and dark. Where is it dark? Where is it light? So it's very important for me, in the process for them, is to feed in what else can I give them that are kind of examples of something that they choose how they deal with that. It's not prescriptive.
Great. Thank you.